Hello students, welcome back to the class. Last classes we have deals with the salient features of Indian Constitution. In the salient features of Indian Constitution we have discussed in the last class about preamble of the Indian Constitution, lengthiest written constitution, fundamental rights and fundamental duties. And also we have discussed that what is the difference between the fundamental rights and fundamental directive principle of state policy. So fundamental rights, and we have discussed about directive principle of state policy. So in the previous classes we have deals with what is the difference between these two things. What is the difference between fundamental rights and what is the difference between the directive principle of state policy. So we have discussed that the guidelines which are given by central government gives the guidelines to the state government. So that is called as directive principle of state policy. Now we will go forward. So in this topic, today's classes we will discuss with fundamental duties. Now we will start about fundamental duties. So the duties with the citizens have to incorporate. The citizens have to fulfill the duties as a citizen. Okay, being as a citizen, the citizen have to discharge their duties. So that duties are called as fundamental duties. So these fundamental duties are not compulsory, but even though being a citizen, when you are living in a country, then your responsibilities, you have to discharge your duties towards citizen. Okay, that duties are called fundamental duties. So fundamental duties are incorporated in the Constitution Amendment, and these fundamental duties are incorporated in 1976, which was incorporated in the Constitution Amendment. And these fundamental rights we can find in Indian Constitution in the part 51A. In the article we can find 51A articles, part 4A of the Indian Constitution. In this we can find fundamental duties will be there. So fundamental duties are very important, such as first important duties of fundamental duties we can find respecting the Constitution, means respecting the law. Already we have discussed what is meant by Constitution. Constitution is nothing but a set of rules and regulations in which the country have to depend. That is Constitution. To run the country successfully, we need Constitution. Okay, Constitution is a book of rules and regulations. It have taken nearly 2 years, 11 months, 18 days to prepare a Constitution. And the Constitution was prepared in Constitution Assembly. And every citizen which are living in the country, they have to follow the Constitutions. So they have to respect the Constitution. And second thing, they should respect the flag, national flag. Every citizens have to respect the flag, and every citizen have to respect the national anthem. Children, whenever the national anthem is going on in the class, it's a responsibility of the citizen that they have to stand and they have to respect the national anthem. And every time we have to respect the flag. Okay. And what are the other duties of fundamental rights we can find? Very simple. Fundamental duties, what are the other things? Protecting the natural resources. Okay. Your right is being a citizen of the country. Natural resources are very, very important. So what we have to do, we have to protect the natural resources. Okay, citizens have to protect the natural resources. On the other hand, there are some duties we can find. Okay, paying tax regularly. Paying tax regularly. So being a citizen, we have to pay the tax regularly. When you are paying a tax, then you will be considered as an obedient citizen. So whatever the rules and regulations when you are following, we have to respect the Constitution. When you are following the rules and regulations perfectly, when you are obeying the country's law, then you are respecting the Constitution. And when you are respecting the national flag, okay, that is also very important as a citizen, and respecting the national anthem. Okay, so whenever the national anthem is going on, it is very, very important that we have to stand and we have to give respect to the national anthem. Apart from this, we have to protect our natural resources. Okay, being a citizen of the country, whenever if you find that any resources are being exploited, it's a right of the citizen that they have to come forward and they have to protect the resources. Paying tax. So this is the simple thing. So these are the things which we have to fulfill our responsibility towards our country. Okay, these responsibilities are called as fundamental duties. Completed. Next, come to the point. Next salient features of Indian Constitution is universal adult franchise. Universal means, see, its meaning shows three important things. Universal, one thing is universal. Okay, one is universal, one is adult, and one is franchise. What is meant by universal adult franchise? Okay, in the previous classes, in the 10th class, we have this concept. Universal means all. What is meant by universe means all the people. Okay, universe, what is meant by Brahman will say all, universe means all. Adult means who complete 18 years of age. The person who complete 18 years of age, they were called as adults. Franchise means right to vote. Right to vote. So that is called universal adult franchise. So universal adult franchise means all the people who complete 18 years of age have right to vote without having any discrimination of caste, without having any discrimination of religion, and without having any discrimination of creed. Every people who are living in the country, already we have discussed that in the fundamental rights we have discussed one right to equality. Right to equality means all the people are equal in the country, man, woman, everybody are equal in front of law, in front of constitution, etc. So here also universal adult franchise means all the people who complete 18 years of age, they will get right to vote. Okay, anybody in our country, if they have completed 18 years of age, so they will get right to vote. As a citizen, they will get right to vote. So that is called universal adult franchise. Either they belong to any caste, either they are following any religion, either they are following any customs, any traditions, any creed, so whatever might be. So all the citizens were considered as equal. So that is called as universal adult franchise. So right to vote is important. So we have given in country like India, right to vote was given to all the people. When we are talking about Britishers, during that time when the Britishers were ruling in our country, right to vote was given not to all the people. Right to vote was given to only some section of people. Only few people used to get right to vote. But today we are given right to vote for all the people. All the people who complete 18 years of age have right to vote without having any discrimination of caste, without having any discrimination of creed, without having any discrimination of culture. All the people are equal in front of law, and all the people are equal in front of politics. So that is called as right to vote. This is one point. So normally when we are talking about right to vote, India is the only democratic country which has given right to vote for all the citizens. 100% citizens we have given right to vote. If any citizens who complete 18 years of age, we are giving right to vote for all the citizens of the country. Next we'll go forward. Single citizenship means nothing but the citizenship which are given to every country have their own citizenship. So India have adopted single citizenship. Very simple. Single citizenship is nothing but in the way, whatever the states, India have many states. Okay, even though if you are living in any states, you will be considered as citizenship of India. So suppose for example, we does not have central citizenship, we does not have state citizenship. We have only one citizenship, and that is citizenship of India. Whenever if you are applying any forms, and whenever if you are applying any scholarship forms, first it will be written citizenship of India only. Even though if you belong to any state, or if you belong to any other point, they will not see that point. Okay, they will not mention that citizenship of any state. Nowhere in the forms you can find citizenship of state. We are following only one citizenship, that is citizenship of the country. How we can get citizenship of the country? By birth or by resident. So suppose if you are born in this country, then you will be the citizen of the country, India. Or if you are living in this country, suppose if you belongs to any other country, and if you are living in this country for more than 5 to 6 years, then also we can get citizenship of India. So citizenship can easily get by two reasons. One is you can become the citizen of any country by birth. If you are belong to that country, if you born in that country, then you will be the citizen of that country. Second thing is residence. If you are living in that country for more than 5 years, then you will become the citizen of that particular country. Okay. So even though if you are living, we have nearly many states, more than 30 states we are. So we does not have separate citizenship for central level, we does not have separate citizenship for state level. So either if you are living in any parts of the country, any part of the country, you will be considered as citizenship of India only. So that's why we have adopted single citizenship. Why we have adopted single citizenship? So that we should not form any type of diversities and differences. So diversities and differences should not form, and that's why Indian government in the constitution have selected single citizenship. Single citizenship can be able to achieve by using birth or by residence. So whenever if you are taking birth, or if you are living in that country for many years, then you can get citizenship of that country. So normally single citizenship in the sense citizenship of India. Now we are following the citizenship of India. We have only one citizenship, and that is central citizenship. We do not have any other citizenship. Normally if you are comparing with other country like America, America have dual citizenship. Dual means two. One is central citizenship and one is state citizenship. But India is having only single citizenship, means we are following only the central citizenship of the country. So wherever the country or whatever the parts we are living, whatever the parts in the country we are living, we will be considered as citizenship of India only, and that's why we will be called as single citizenship. To achieve the citizenship of any country, two important things are most important. One is born. You should born in that country. If you are born in that country, you will be the citizen of that country. And second thing is residence. Okay, that is one point. So if you are living in that country for more than 5 years, you can become the citizen of that country. Next, India is called as bicameralism. Bicameralism means in our country we have two important sabhas. Okay, in our country we can find two parliaments are mainly consists of two parts. One is called Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In many countries they have only one local bodies, but we have two parliaments. Okay, two local organizations we can find. Representative houses are mainly classified into two types, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and that's why Indian Parliament is also mainly classified into Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and that's why it is divided into two parts, which is called as bicameralism. Unicameralism means only one institution is called as unicameralism, but in India we can bi in the sense two. So whenever the country which mainly consists of two representative houses, then that is called as bicameralism. Example, Indian parliaments are mainly classified into two types. One is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and that's why according to the constitution we are called as bicameralism. Okay. Next one, parliamentary government. In parliamentary government we can find power was given to the parliament. According to the Indian constitution has adopted British parliamentary government. Okay, so Britishers also when they formed the government, they have formed based upon the parliament only. So India also adopted the same principle, parliamentary form of government. So according to the constitution, we has given more power to parliament. How we can say that parliament has more power? Because parliament have right to remove the president also. Parliament have right to remove the prime minister also. Most of the powers which was given to the parliament only. Okay, so to enact any law, parliament have to approve. So whenever the parliament will approve, whenever the bills are any pass or whenever the act is any passing, the parliament will approve that. So that's why we will say that our country is a parliamentary form of government. Most of the power is vested in the hand of parliament, and that's why our country is called as parliamentary form of government. Okay. So parliamentary government is nothing but most of the power when it is vested in the hand of parliament, we can say parliamentary form of government, because parliament only will elect who is the head of the country, president. According to the constitution, president is the head of the country. So parliament will only elect the president, and parliament has a right to remove the president, and that's why parliament has a more power to enact the laws, and if parliament has a power to amend the law, and that's why our country is called as parliamentary form of government. Next one, unitary and federal. Now this is the last salient features of Indian constitution. This is called unitary and federal. What is meant by unitary? Whenever the power vested in the hand of only single government, central government. In any country, when the power vested in the hand of central government, then that is called as unitary. Unitary means unit. What is meant by unit? One. Federal. Federal is nothing but division of power ni federal, we can say. Okay, unitary is nothing but one. Whenever the power vested in the hand of one government, either central government, whenever the most of the power is under the control of central government, then that is called as unitary. When the power is vested in the hand of two form of government, central government as well as state government, then we can say that is called as federal form of government. Okay, but India, according to Indian constitution, we are both. We are unitary as well as federal, because in some policies we have adopted unitary form of government, in some policies we have adopted federal form of government. So if you see in our constitution, we are following both the concept. We are unitary and we are federal also. Why? Because in some policies central government will enjoy more power, but in some other policies central and state government enjoy equal power. So that's why India is a unitary and federal. Unitary in the sense, for example, this concept, single citizenship. we are following single citizenship. So okay, we are given citizenship, one citizenship we are following, so that is called unitary. Second thing, single election commission. All over the country election commission is only single. Okay, election commissions will perform and he will conduct the elections. So all the elections will be conducted by one single election commission. So this is also saying that India is unitary. And next one is we have integrated judiciary system. So wherever if you see judiciary system are same. Supreme Court is the head of the country. Under the control of Supreme Court, all the courts will function. So all the powers are under the control of one integrated judiciary system, Supreme Court. So this is also saying that India is single, unitary. So unitary, how can you say the country is unitary? Because India is mainly following the three important concepts: single judiciary system, single election commission, and integrated judiciary system. We have integrated. Supreme Court and High Court are integrated with each other. If you are going in any other country like America, it is not like that. America state have one court, central have one court, other courts. So these courts are not related with each other. But in India, if you see central government, state government, in central level we have Supreme Court, state level we have High Court. High Court have to follow the order of Supreme Court. Why? Because this is an integrated judiciary system. And India is a federal. How can you say that India is a federal? Because India have adopted a very rigid if you wanted to change the policy, whenever if you are following a very hard method, that is called as rigid. Opposite of rigid is flexible. So whenever if you are following the easy method to change the constitution, that is flexible. So whenever if you are following a very difficult method, then that is called as rigid. And India have second thing which is making our Indian constitution federal is bicameralism. Already have divided. Already here our parliament is mainly consists of two parts. One is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. So that is saying that India is a federal state. In some point India is unitary, in some policies India is federal. So India is following both the concept. Okay. So these are the salient features of Indian constitution, in which we have mainly discussed. At present we have discussed about fundamental rights. Then we have discussed about universal adult franchise. Then we have discussed about single citizenship, how we can able to acquire the citizenship of India, what are the two things should have. Born, we should born in that country and we should reside in that country. Then we have discussed about bicameralism, in which our parliament mainly consists of two parts, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. So that's why we, according to the constitution, we are bicameralism. Parliamentary form of government, I said you how India is a parliamentary form of government, because most of the power vested in the hand of parliament. Parliament have right to reject, parliament have right to remove the president and even prime minister also. And most of the laws parliament will formulate, most of the amendment parliament will do. Most of the power is under the control of parliament. That's why India is a parliamentary form of government. So we have adopted parliamentary form of government according to the principle of British's parliamentary system. And India is a unitary as well as federal concept we have discussed in the para. Okay children, so our topic is ended here. We will meet you in the next class. Thank you very much.